What's going on, everybody? We are officially in the playoffs of Season 2. I'm back with Phoenix and Millzz. How are you guys doing tonight?
How are we doing, huh?
Not doing
We're
too
doing
bad.
pretty good here. Just finishing homework, but other than that, looking forward to seeing how these playoffs roll out.
Yeah, so we're going to go ahead and get right into it. We're going to talk about each matchup, do a small breakdown of them, give our predictions, and also we're going to talk about the award winners and give our comments on those as well. So we'll go ahead and start with each matchup individually. So we'll start in the AFC. We got the 2 seed Jets against the 7 seed Patriots. So divisional matchup, third time playing this year. What are your guys' first opinions on this game?
Well, let's start from the spread, shall we? This game comes into play with the biggest spread of all of our games, according to the Daddy League Sportsbook, which Millzz has shared in our channel. 9-point favorites are the New York Jets, and the overall line is set to be 56. Now, they come into this game 15-1. They are the best record of the non-first seed teams. So, what does that tell me? I think we're going to see a really crazy, outstanding game from the Jets. Now, the Patriots, we've seen them play very, very well. We've also seen them kind of struggle if there's a lull or the game kind of gets out of hand. So what we need to see the Patriots do is really stay locked in and give the Jets a run for it.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think I just kind of wanted to add, since they were in the same division, they did play twice this year. And the Jets did come out on top both times, both by 2 scores. But I know Q always puts up a good fight against the Jets user. All those divisional games that we played this year were really close, head-to-head. There were a lot of splitting between each teams in the division, so I definitely would not count Q out on this one. And I know he's kind of picked up the pace on the back half of his schedule too, and regaining pieces from injury. So it's going to be a really fun game to watch.
On that note, I do want to also add, both of the games that they played against each other was before we realized that Sam Darnold had been given the super fast slinger release. Now that he's back to generic, do we think that makes a change in how this game plays out?
Yeah, I think the Jets' offense is super. The user offense is super OP, but I think he does make a lot of mistakes turnover-wise, which could definitely equalize the playing field, I guess. So I think if Q can capitalize off a turnover or two and score some points off of it, it's going to be a really close game. I know that Q has a really good user defense, so I'm pulling for him for sure.
Yeah, to add on to that, I mean, I think minimalizing his own turnovers are pretty big as well.
Absolutely.
I mean, yeah, getting Mickey to throw some picks or force a fumble is going to be pretty tough. But yeah, Q's defense is very good, but I think minimizing turnovers on offense will be very important as well. So he's got to play a very solid game all around to pull this one out, I think. But my prediction for this game, I'm gonna go with the Jets. I mean, I think it's gonna be a 1-score game. I think Q's gonna keep it close. I think the Jets user's skill will come out in the end. What was the spread? It was -9. So I think the
9.
Patriots cover, but I think the Jets will end up winning.
So actually, side note on this, I know last season we let everyone just pick and choose winners. Do we actually want to force them to play spreads? Does that change how carefully they have to pick? Because now they can't just pick the winner. If the spread is big, like it is in this game, that kind of makes it a lot tougher to gauge whether or not Q can keep it inside the spread.
That's actually a good point. I didn't think about that.
Pretty would make it a lot closer.
I think it'd make it a lot. It would make it a lot closer, more interesting. Make there more of a thought process, because there are some games that might be a little easier to choose. You'd think so. I think choosing more of a spread would be more equal for the league. So
all right, you want me to post that?
I'm all for
I'll
that.
let everyone know.
Yeah, I'm all for that.
And I think I know there were like 3 or 4 people at the end of last year were tied going into the Super Bowl.
Yeah,
so.
2 of them were perfect.
Yeah.
So while Phoenix goes ahead and announces that, Millzz and I'll go get in the next matchup. So we got the Browns and the Chiefs. The 6-seed Browns are the 3-seed Chiefs. So Oscar and Brett, I think they faced in the playoffs last year, if I remember. and I think they face
I
also in the
think so,
regular
too.
season. So I'm looking at the schedule. The Chiefs beat the Browns 34-10 in the regular season, but we all know Oscar's a very good user, and obviously so is B Fine. So I think this is gonna be a really good game to watch. I think this is gonna be a shootout because they're both very good on offense. So I'm looking forward to seeing it.
Yeah, this is the Daddy League's game of the week too. So I think some of the key things for Oscar would definitely be to shut down Tyreek Hill. I know that his user defense is really good. Just kind of shutting down that deep threat all around because we know Brett can sling it. So, but I also think that, like you said before, both of them have really high power offenses. So I think that over of 52 is going to get killed. And where the Chiefs are favored, they're giving them 7 points. So I definitely think that could push, because I do think Brett probably wins because I know that he's a different beast in the playoffs.
Yeah.
But we'll see. I mean, I think it definitely is a one-score game. I'd be like the -7. But I think that's probably what Brett wins by, if not maybe 10 or 14.
One thing I am noticing in this this regular season matchup they had, Oscar threw 27 times and ran 7 times with Kareem Hunt. So I think getting the first score or getting the lead would be very important for him because if you go down to Brett early, then it's very hard to keep up with that because his defense can be just as good as his offense. So making sure you get an early lead will be very big for him.
And even if you're down 7 points to a guy like Brett, I think it kind of looks like it more than it is. So you're always trying to, get all those points back on one drive. And sometimes you can't do that, obviously. But yeah, I think, like I said, I think my prediction would probably be Brett by 10 or 14. But I wouldn't be surprised if it was a one-score game.
Mm-hmm. Jaden?
Sorry, I was handling getting those
No,
in.
you're good.
We're talking about, are we still talking about the Chiefs-Browns game?
Yeah, just small take on it.
So something we all know about the Chiefs is they are an incredibly tough team, and when the playoffs comes, they turn a different switch.
Mm-hmm.
That being said, I know that Eel Mack has been looking forward to this matchup. He's been readying himself for this. And something else of note is, while Brett is still a very, very tough opponent, he is not lights out perfect this season. In fact, this might be one of the first seasons he was not the number 1 seed in his conference. So I think maybe some chinks in the armor might be coming out. It might have something to do with the way the game is playing. We all know the game's kind of wonky at times. We also know that momentum can be tough. So if the Browns get the momentum early, I think Evil Mac can actually give this one a run. Now, with that being said, I am definitely taking the Chiefs in this game because it's really hard to bet against Brett, especially now that Patrick Mahomes is healthy for this playoffs. So my pick for the game, Chiefs -7.
Yeah, so I think, like I said, I think it's going to be a shootout. I think Oscar, if he scores first, it's going to be, a one-score game at the most. So I think the Browns +7 is going to be my pick. I think Brett could win by, exactly a touchdown. So, it could be right on the dot. But I think Oscar's going to keep this a close game because they've played multiple times. So that definitely helps. And, if he gets started on the right note, then I think he could even win, but I think he'll definitely cover.
Mm-hmm.
Millzz?
I think it's gonna be. I think that might be the game of this round of the playoffs.
Oh, yeah.
For sure.
Yeah, like I said before, I think Brett probably covers. I think he wins by 10 or 14.
I didn't hear that.
No, you're good. But
Yeah. So
like I said, I wouldn't be surprised if it's a one-score game.
Yeah, I'm excited to watch that one. The last AFC game, we got a rematch of last year's wild card round. We got Chuck and the Bengals against Nate and the Colts. So this was a great game. Chuck pulled out for a big lead against Nate, who made a pretty miraculous comeback and only lost by, I don't know, it was like 3 points, I think. But I'm excited to see the rematch. We got Chuck favored by 3 here. He finished 11-5. Nate finished 9-7, so I could kind of see that. But I I don't know here. I think this is gonna be another close game. I think Chuck's defense is gonna come on top in the end. So I'm gonna go with Bengals -3 solely for Chuck's user skill on defense.
Yeah, I definitely think that the Bengals won't have a problem with the Colts this time around. I think I don't know if he wasn't as locked in as he was after he took that big of a lead, and that's why that happened. But I don't think he will let it happen again. I know he finished out the regular season really strong. He finished 11-5 like I projected him to in our last podcast.
That was a very nice pick, by the way.
He was my dark horse sliding into playoffs, and but I think honestly it might be a dog walk if he is locked in the entire game. I definitely think that the Bengals win in blowout fashion because I know what Chuck can do on offense, and his defense is even better. So I mean he's going to be really fun to watch throughout the playoffs too. So
Do they play in the regular season?
I'm not sure.
Check.
Got a schedule up.
No, they did not.
Mm-hmm.
So, just a rematch of the playoffs from last year.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I think I don't know what was Colts schedule on the back end. How well did they finish out the regular season? Let me pull that up. So
the Colts gave the Jets their only loss of the season. Looking at his schedule from weeks 13 to 17, he finished 4-1 with his only loss to the Cardinals. So he beat the Jaguars, the Jets, the Titans, and the Texans. So he finished 4-1 to end it. 5-2 if you go back 2 more weeks. So I mean, he finished on a good note. So he's got some momentum going into the playoffs. That's why I think it'll be closer than probably you were predicting. But I do think Chuck will end up winning.
Yeah, I think like I said before, as long as Chuck is locked in the entire game, offense and defense.
Chuck's also got momentum going to the playoffs. He was 4-4 at one point, so he's 7-1 to finish off the season. So yeah, 2 hot teams going into it. It's gonna be a good one.
Yeah, absolutely. I think overall, I just think Chuck's user defense is going to be too much, forcing turnovers.
Sorry guys, I'm just
corner safety go.
I just got distracted. Texans just made up his own spreads for each of the games. I don't know why. So I'm trying to get that fixed.
That's okay. We'll figure it out. What are your thoughts on the Bengals and Colts?
Looking at this Indy Bengals game, I think it's going to be a lot of fun. These are 2 very, very competitive opponents. We all kind of back the idea that Chuck would find his way into the playoffs. And according to the records, I mean, he is definitely a higher performer than the Colts. But that being said, I don't think you can count out any of these teams. These guys are both very, very good. We do know that if there is a chink in Chuck's armor, it is his passing game. And if he cannot run, yes, he is a very good defender, but he can get stuck. He can get stuck if he is forced to pass. So it's going to come down to what the Colts strategy is for this game. With that being said, though, I have to back the Cincinnati Bengals on this one and take them to cover because I think he should be fine if he can get out in front and get into the head a little bit of Nate. Because we do know Nate is very, very tough, but Nate is also using his favorite quarterback who is not a top tier one, and that could create some problems for him throwing against a good user defense.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, those are all good points. You can make a case for like any of these games to be the game of the round, so it's tough because they're all going to be good matchups. But moving into the NFC, we got 2 divisional matchups. So since Phoenix and I are each in our own matchup, we'll take turns talking about each other's. But we'll start with the first divisional one, the Seahawks and the 49ers. So the 49ers had the 1 seed going in to the last week, and Eagles pulling out the win. Must have had a tiebreaker that I don't know of that eventually gave them the 1 seed. So the 49ers snuck down into the 2 seed. Nope.
So looking at the seeding, I don't know what Madden counts. I do know that Daddy Leagues track strength of schedule, and if it does, I did a quick compilation of all the games that the 2 teams played or that they lost to. The Falcons lost to the Giants, the Chiefs, and the Saints. All 3 teams are top tier. The the Giants are the only wild card in that group, and they were a 12-4 wild card. So their combined record was 37-11.
You beat me, remember?
No. I'm not talking about. I'm talking about the why the Eagles jumped over the Niners for that number 1 seed.
Oh, you said the Falcons lost to the Giants.
Yep. or the Eagles. The Eagles lost to the Giants, they lost to the Chiefs, and they lost to the Saints. Those 3 teams combined for a 37-11 record. The 49ers, on the other hand, lost to the Vikings, the Seahawks, and the Colts. All 3 of those teams are 9-7 wild cards. Okay. So I think that's why Philly jumped over them.
That makes sense.
This matchup should be interesting. Since Little Mac made the trade for Joe Burrow, he's been able to really, I guess, push the limit and score well against teams. But if you look at his stats indicate that he still makes a lot of bad pass choices. And if you can get underneath his passes and intercept them and force turnovers, Little Mac can struggle.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah, on that, I think... go ahead, bro. So.
You got it.
All right, my fault. I think the main point that I was going to point out was the back half of 49ers schedule wasn't the toughest, I would say. And I think that's why, I mean, obviously the skill too, but I think that strength of schedule added on to his skill was kind of what added to his rampage that he went on even a little bit more than the back half. I think I can't even remember how many games he won in a row to finish off the year.
I agree.
But I know that they played twice. Seahawks won the first one 35-7, and then the 49ers won the second meeting 20-17. And that's after the quarterback trade. So I definitely think that he molds better with Joe Burrow. But ultimately, my prediction for this, I think they have, 49ers minus 3. I'm definitely taking the Seahawks plus 3. And definitely would even sprinkle some Seahawks money line in. I think that the Seahawks definitely get the job done in the playoffs.
Yeah,
I would have to say I agree there. I come into this game thinking the Seahawks would be the favorite. I guess the records say otherwise, but I also believe that the Seahawks will definitely cover. I don't think they lose this game. I would take them on the money line as well.
I agree. Looking at their first matchup, but Lil Mac still had Rodriguez as quarterback. Seahawks won 35-7.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, but with Joe Burrow, 49ers won 20-17. So close game there. So I got the Seahawks too. I think Vibe is gonna pull up the upset. I don't even know if it'd be that much of an upset because they're both really good. And I think Seahawks are better than the record shows. So yeah, that's my pick.
For sure.
I think so too. I honestly believe he ran into just a really, really tough schedule.
Mm-hmm.
So we do know he can give people a hard time. We do know he's got that really, really good defense. It's just a matter of, if you look at his last series of games, he had the Saints. He took a loss to the Texans. That was an interesting loss. But he did lose to the Niners. He lost to the Titans. He lost to the Eagles. And that was all the second half of the season.
All right, so we'll go to the next matchup here. We got another divisional matchup between the Falcons and the Saints. So Millzz and I will go over this one.
Go Falcons!
So we got our reigning Super Bowl champion in Estrada against our very own admin Phoenix. They're 2 matchups this season. The Saints won 42-14 and 35-21. So some pretty big wins by Estrada. But we all know what Phoenix is capable of. He went to the NFC Championship last season and ended up playing Estrada. So a nice rematch there in the first round this year. So what is the spread for this one?
Minus
4 for the Saints.
Mm-hmm.
That's a tough one because we all know how good both these users are. I think the 2 matchups in the regular season, I don't think that'll happen again. I think it'll be a close game. Playing someone that many times, it just makes it. I think, and with the divisional aspect, I think the games just get closer and closer as time goes on, and I don't know if I'm gonna say the Falcons pull the upset here, I think it'll be a one-score game, maybe a touchdown, like 6-7 points. So I think with the spread, I'm gonna take the Saints, but I expect Phoenix to keep it very close.
Definitely a tough spread.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, that is a very tough spread. I think going off of what Noah said, though, like you guys playing each other so many times, being in the same division for 2 years now, just kind of more than feeling each other out by this point. I definitely think it's going to be a really close game, too. I think the spread does this game justice, really. I do think it'll probably be like a field goal game or a touchdown game. It's just kind of who the Madden gods like more in this matchup, probably, because I feel like skill-wise,
Yeah.
we were pretty evenly matched.
Speaking of Seahawks fumble,
Oh wow.
But I think ultimately I think if Estrada, keeps doing what he has been doing in the playoffs, I think he probably will advance on. But I really don't think that this is more than like a 3 or 4 point game like the spread shows. So I'm really at a stalemate as to who I'm taking on the spread. But I'm just really excited to watch this game too, for sure.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So our last matchup. So we got the Giants and the Vikings. I'll go ahead and let you two take this one on.
so taking the lead here on the Giants game. Now, the Giants lost their division by a game. The number 1 seed in the NFC was the 13-3 Eagles, and the Giants are the number 1 wild card at 12-4. So they were no slouches, better than almost the entire rest of the NFC in that one division. That being said, the Vikings got in as the division leader at 9-7. They're going to be a very tough fought game here. Now, they can kind of do it with some of their weapons that they have. Deke definitely has been playing a lot better than what we have seen previously, so that's good to see as always. But I do still think that the Giants, with their big-headed attack, they have their running back, Saquon, they have all those wide receivers, and then they have a really good user defense. I think we're going to see the Giants cover that spread of 8 pretty easily. I'd say this game probably goes to about 10-14 as the spread.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm just kind of taking a look back on the Vikings' strength of schedule. I know that division is always pretty close because they're all pretty even in skill. But looking at it, I don't think the Vikings had one win over a team that was over 500. I think, the only win that they had over a team that was 500 was week 1 against the 49ers.
Yep.
So I think this is definitely going to be a test for him because I know, like you said, Noah losing the division by 1 game that easily could have been his first seed. Had a few things flip in that last game, and then also to make a point that the Vikings have the same record as the last wild card that's in right now. So I think, let me see what the spread is here.
It's 8.
It's at -8. Yeah, I'd definitely take the Giants -8. I probably think it's a 2 to 3 score game. Probably ultimately a 2-score game. I think the Vikings will probably have a really tough time playing the Giants, and I definitely would take the Giants -9 or -8. Excuse me.
I agree.
Does it feel weird saying you'll take the Giants to cover by more than a touchdown? That's something you don't hear very often.
Very weird feeling.
I was actually looking at the Giants spread in real life because they play the Bengals this week, and they were almost a touchdown. So,
well, yeah, especially because Burrow's out.
Yeah.
So
yeah, exactly. So they might be able to cover that. All right, so that's what we got for the first round. If you guys want, we could just give our straight up predictions for the whole thing now, or maybe do one more podcast as we get to the final 4. What do you guys think?
So based on our picks, let's take a look at it this way. Based on our picks, we all I feel like we're in the same ballpark of who we thought were winning each of these games.
Mm-hmm.
So we all agreed on Cincinnati, correct?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
We all agreed on Kansas City, but Cleveland keeping it close.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I think the close game here was New Orleans over Atlanta. It's going to be close, but since Waltz did make a pick, we'll move on with if it's the Saints winning. We had the Giants over Minnesota. We had the Jets over New England, and we had Seattle over San Francisco.
Mm-hmm.
All right,
So knowing that,
yeah, that means the Ravens would play Chuck, so it'd be Squib versus Chuck, and then Brett
looks
versus
like it would
Mickey.
be Squib versus. It looks like it'd be Squib versus Mickey according to the 2021 thing, unless
Well,
it changes by
yeah,
seeding.
it changes seeding in the second round. So it'd
Okay,
be
okay.
highest versus
So,
lowest.
so Bling against Chuck. I don't know what the spread is going to look like for that game, but I mean, I guess I can guesstimate real quick for everyone.
I mean, we don't got to go spread.
But I think that is going to be an outstanding game.
Yeah, we can just go off winners at this point. We don't got to make up spreads. I think.
Yeah, the spread is roughly 24 to 31 in favor of the Ravens.
7. Yeah, I don't know. Bling has just been so good this year. I mean, he hasn't lost a game, so it's kind of hard to bet against him right now. But I mean, Chuck has
Agreed.
Chuck has beaten him once. He's put up close games against him a couple of times. I think I take the Ravens here. It's hard to bet against him until you see him lose, you know.
Yeah, for sure.
I agree.
I think that's who I'd go with in this match.
I'd agree with you too, but I think I'm pretty sure Chuck lost to him. Well, I mean, he had to have lost to him both times this year. But I think he keeps it closer than those two games showed. That'll be a really fun matchup to watch as well.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
So then it'd be the Chiefs versus the Jets. That's a good one. I don't think they've played each other yet.
I think they did play each other last regular season.
Okay.
And it was a blowout for the Chiefs.
Yeah, I mean, you guys said it perfectly. I mean, Brett in the playoffs is just a different user. Like it's pretty OP, and him with that Chiefs team, I don't think I can bet against that. I mean, just the teams in general, the Chiefs against the Jets, both good users, but I think the Chiefs team being rated better, and Brett's playoff experience and success, I gotta go the Chiefs.
Mm-hmm.
I agree with you there as well.
All right, well that was easy.
Right. So and then moving to the other side, so we have the Giants, or we have the Seahawks taking on the Eagles, and the Giants taking on the Saints. This could be a really interesting one because we'll start here. We'll start with the Birds. Seahawks and Eagles, I feel like are going to be a pretty close game. I feel like they've played each other quite a few times too, despite not being in the same division.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not. And looking at this year, yeah. So they played once this year. The Eagles won, if I'm not mistaken, on a last-second field goal, 21-18. So it was a close game. And then in season number 1, when I don't know if they did play, Eagles also won 34-31. So that was another close game both seasons.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I like this matchup a lot. You know, I think I'd go with the upset here. I'm liking the Seahawks in this. I think Jump is definitely capable of, you know, going to the Super Bowl. I'm just gonna go off basis matchup. I think the Seahawks will kind of have the revenge like aspect going in 0-2 big playoff game. I got the Seahawks. No offense to Carter, because you know he's my division guy. So
I'll say Carter's tough. Carter is a very tough, very respectable. I agree, but I also think Seahawks come in here with more to prove, and I've always noticed that as good as Carter is, when it comes to a close game, I don't know if he just plays too cautiously, but the game seems to speed up on him a lot in close games.
Yeah. With this one, I'd probably take the Eagles over the Seahawks. I think I liked how Jumps played all season long. His divisional games with Noah were always really fun to watch, and but I would definitely take the Eagles over the Seahawks in that second round matchup.
And to make sure there's a note that the Eagles did beat the Seahawks in both of their previous matchups in Madden 21. So,
yeah, that kind of goes back to my revenge point. I think, you know, third time's a charm kind of thing. I don't know. Mm-hmm. Just making it random.
All right, and then the last game. This is another interesting one. The Seahawks or the Saints and the Giants. Now, it is really tough to bet against Estrada in the playoffs. As we all know, he is the NFC equivalent so far to Be Fine when it comes to playoff success. He's had some really outstanding games. He's had some really interesting close games too. And technically, if I remember when the Giants and the Saints played this season, the Saints won off of a fluke turnover that happened in the fourth quarter that changed the whole perspective of the game. So I think that we can actually see the Giants upset here. But again, it is really hard betting against a team that has the track record it does to have beaten Brett in his heyday.
Yeah, I 100% agree with you too. I think both of them have really good users, and whenever they play each other, it's always a one-score game. Um, that's definitely going to be really hard to predict. I think the only thing that I could base it off of is what you said is prior success in the playoffs for Estrada. I think, the Giants would be the team to do it. So that's going to be a really fun game to watch too. I can't even really give you a prediction right now.
All right, well, since we can't really pick it, and we were kind of split on that first one, how about we assume, just for the hell of this, that we're going to have two upsets going into this game? Because we had two picks for the Seahawks to upset the number 1 seed Eagles. Why don't we just, spitball this with the Giants upsetting the Saints?
Yeah, I'm down.
Or, and I'll leave this up to Giants, we can say the Saints move forward so that he can actually, put his 2 cents forward on the final 3 games. What do you think, Waltz?
I'm okay with.
I know you're not betting against yourself, so we all believe in you.
Yeah, I mean, I can't bet against myself, but I mean, Estrada's got my number so far, so
and that's where I feel like as the Falcons as well.
I think right now anyone that would beat me in the playoffs, it would be him.
Okay, so let's just move forward then. We got the Seahawks taking 2 out of the 3 votes, and we'll say the Saints move forward for no other reason than that lets us have Waltz's opinion for the final couple games here.
Fair.
All right, so getting down to our championship games, we're now looking at Bling taking on B-Fine, I believe, right? We said, or no, was it B-Fine over Mickey, or did you guys take Mickey over B-Fine?
I took B-Fine.
Yeah, I took B-Fine too.
Okay. So we got B-Fine in a revenge game here against Bling and his Ravens. Bling is the one that kind of turned it around this season. This is the first time we've seen a non-B-Fine team go undefeated in the regular season, and Bling beat him pretty handedly in their games this year. Do we think that B-Fine can upset the number 1 seed in the AFC this year?
Yes. I think he made it to the Super Bowl with Matt Moore last season. He's got Mahomes. If he keeps Mahomes healthy, I think he's still the team to beat.
Yeah, I definitely think so too. I think, during the regular season, he wasn't as. I mean, obviously he's invested, but wasn't as invested as he is now towards the playoffs, and to Madden in general. And I think that he has something to prove since his regular season record wasn't as good as it usually is. Just to prove that, regular season doesn't really matter when it comes playoff time. So I think he's definitely going to be the AFC representative over the Ravens.
I think so too. I think as good as Bling has been playing, B-Fine when he really wants to lab, and when it comes to playoff time, he turns that switch, like I said before. I think he actually shuts down the Ravens quite a bit this time, especially since if you look at them, they were the number 1 and 2 teams in both offensive scoring and defensive scoring. So the game is going to be a pick'em according to Daddy Leagues, and as a result, I think this is going to be an outstanding game. But I also believe that the Chiefs will, in fact, get to the Super Bowl once again.
All right, so let's go to the NFC Championship game we have.
So we have the Seahawks and the Saints.
Yeah, I mean, we got Vibe already upsetting 2 teams. I don't know if he can be able to do a third one. Then he'd have to be on an absolute hot streak to do it. I'd probably take Estrada here.
Who would the team? Who did we say that he would upset second round?
We said that he would
Carter.
upset
Well,
the
you-
Eagles.
so
you said no. You
Well,
thought Jump
here,
Carter
how
would
about,
beat
Yeah,
him.
so how about
yeah.
this? Let's just do personal ones at this point. So I think
Yeah.
so. We'll let Mills say the Eagles won, but Jaden and I can say the Seahawks won. So I think Saints beat the Seahawks in the NFC Championship and go on to play the Chiefs. So well,
I think so too. I think that Cinderella story stops in this round as well.
I think he loses first round to Jump, like I said before, and I think Jump definitely gives Estrada a better game than the Seahawks would. So I still would go with the Saints to be the NFC representative, just because of what we all could see what he did in the playoffs last year, and I think he's just going to continue that too.
yeah. I mean, if we're going based off personal, I'm gonna say I obviously pick myself over the Saints with a little bias in there.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it's hard to predict anything.
So if you beat the Saints, where do you think that would make you feel or stand in the NFC Championship game?
Yeah, I mean, if I beat Estrada, I don't think I'd lose to the Seahawks or even Carter. I mean, my games with Carter have been close, but I don't know. I got the confidence in myself.
Absolutely.
I think, I hate to say it, but if I did make it to the Super Bowl, I don't think I win, because if I face Bling or Brett, that they usually have my number. I mean, yeah, I beat Brett this season, but I don't think that's a thing you can do twice in a row.
That is definitely tough. That is definitely tough.
But
But as of right now, we're looking at either an Estrada be fine Super Bowl or I guess it was Estrada be fine for the Super Bowl, Waltz be fine for the Super Bowl, or Jump Carter be fine for the Super Bowl. Where do you guys stand on those three matchups?
Yeah, it's hard to. I can't bet against the Chiefs, man. It's even for myself. Like, until I actually beat him in a Super Bowl, I can't pick myself to beat him in a Super Bowl. Yeah, I think regardless of who makes it, I got the AFC this year. I think the Chiefs will come out on top. Even if Bling Squibb does make it to the Super Bowl, I think he'll win it. So I think whoever comes out of the AFC is going to win.
I think so too. I think that AFC side is super tough this season. Now that Bling has come up, I think it's going to be an AFC Super Bowl or a championship this year as well.
Yeah, I think my final two would definitely be Chiefs and Saints. But yeah, I would definitely go with the AFC side of things too. I think B-Fine gets the job done and wins another ring.
All right. Well, there you have it. So
you gonna go into awards and stuff
we'll
too?
go into the awards and kind of talk about what we've seen from these players this season. So I think we had a pretty unanimous MVP this season in Lamar Jackson.
I think so too. 51 touchdowns, 4,400 yards, and that doesn't even consider what he did on the ground.
Right. Yeah, I mean it's pretty tough to put up a fight for any other player against him for this season at least.
Mm-hmm.
What do you guys think about that? I mean, Bling was pretty unstoppable with him this year.
Yeah. Bling was tough as nails. The number that I really like, and I really want to focus on why this makes him my MVP, 14 interceptions. He threw less than one per game, but he threw 52 touchdowns. That, to me, is a fantastic ratio of nearly 4-1. So,
does it give you the stat, like yards per pass?
looking, it looks like it's roughly
16 yards.
About 15 and a half, yeah.
Okay.
That's a
thought it
pretty
would be-
monster number too.
Yeah.
Granted, it's helped that it's helped, and we'll talk about this when we get to him, but it's helped by the fact that he has one of the fastest, biggest wide receivers in the game.
Yeah,
So-
I was definitely gonna contribute that. I thought that number would even be a little bit higher. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if it was,
In the
18 to
20s.
20. Yeah,
Yeah.
because I feel like every time I see him throw a touchdown, it's like a 50-plus yarder streak. But yeah, just like looking at his receivers, J.K. Dobbins, or sorry, that's rushing. Marquise Brown and Julius Parker are leading the team. And Marquise Brown, he's averaging 40 yards a catch. So I think
That's insane.
with 25 touchdowns, I think, kind of like the tell-all of what I just said too. I think the majority of those touchdowns are breakaway passes. So
Yeah. So we can go ahead and just read off these awards. We don't got to go into each and every one of them. So we'll go into AFC. So offensive player of the year, we got Lamar Jackson. Shocker. Defensive player of the year, Blake Cashman for the Jets. Offensive rookie of the year, we got wide receiver Jermichael Sapp for the Jets. So 2 awards.
Again, speed kills.
Yeah. Marco Martin for the Chiefs won defensive rookie of the year. I'm not 100% sure what position he is.
I don't know who that is.
If you guys want to look.
I will look. Keep going.
Best QB, Lamar Jackson. Best running back, Joe Mixon for the Bengals. That's not much of a surprise there.
yeah,
Considering Joe Mixon's number 2 in the MVP voting, that's actually pretty solid to me that you have a running back that high over so many good performing players.
Yeah, definitely.
Marco Martin is the starting rookie free safety for the Kansas City Chiefs.
Interesting.
Finishes the season with 7 interceptions, a touchdown, and 2 sacks.
Nice. Where was that? Running back. Oh, Joe Mixon. Best receiver, Hollywood Brown.
Yep.
Best O lineman.
25 receiving touchdowns on 47 catches.
Wow. Ronnie Stanley won Best O lineman for the Ravens. Best D line was DeForest Buckner for the Colts. Best linebacker, Blake Cashman for the Jets. Best DB was cornerback Shaq Rudd for the Ravens, followed by another DB, Chuck Clark for the Ravens. So Ravens DB is shown out in the awards. And then Justin Tucker for best kicker. So the Ravens mainly took away half these awards. But
yeah, the Ravens.
It's not surprising after an undefeated season.
I think the NFC should be a little bit more spread out.
Yeah, I agree. So NFC Offensive Player of the Year was Ezekiel Elliott. So he beat out a few running backs here, looking like top 4 raw running backs. Defensive Player of the Year was Jamal Adams. You get some?
That's crazy that Zeke got that high. He was number 6 in the league in runs. Maybe it's his touchdown numbers, but even because he had 19 rushing touchdowns to lead the NFC. There were 24 leading the AFC with Clyde Edwards-Helaire. So that's kind of crazy to me that he was beaten by Mixon. But Mixon overall, better overall season, almost 1,700 yards and 17 touchdowns.
Yeah, well, second for Offensive Player of the Year was D'Angelo Gee for the 4-12 Rams.
And Gee ended the year with 12 rushing touchdowns, 1,400 yards, and probably a handful of receiving because I think he was also the leading receiver for the Los Angeles Rams this year.
Offensive Rookie of the Year, we got running back Lamont Lett for the Cardinals. And then...
did we skip over defensive back? Jamal Adams?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, Defensive Player of the Year is Jamal Adams for the Seahawks.
Oh, okay.
Beast.
But yeah, Lamont Lett for the Cardinals.
I'm guessing.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Who is Lamont Lett?
So Lamont Lett was a running back for the Cardinals. I think he was drafted in the later, 5th or 6th round, too, if I remember. So that's pretty cool to see.
Sixth round draft pick out of Fresno.
It's pretty cool. He's up to a 74 overall. I wonder what he started at.
I'm seeing 72. My guess was if he was a 6th rounder, he started at a 66.
Wow.
66.
It's a pretty good first season. Defensive Rookie of the Year, DB Dante Foster for the 49ers.
Really?
I think
so the NFC West cleaning up some of these awards now.
He was the 3rd overall pick, if I remember.
Foster, is that the cornerback?
Yeah, I believe so.
Yeah.
I believe he moved him to safety before his hidden came, though, so... I think so. I'm not sure.
Alright, I'm pulling. Keep looking. Dante Foster, strong, safety. First round, number 5 overall pick out of Colorado.
Nice.
94 speed safety.
So best QB, we got Daniel Jones.
Look at that.
Danny Dimes.
Beast, Giants. Beast.
I'm surprised he beat out Tom Brady, Noah Floyd, Jordan Love, Kyler Murray. I mean, there's a lot of better options. I thought that would have taken it over him, but you know what? That's pretty cool to see. We got an award.
I think Tom Brady led the league in passing yards.
Mm-hmm.
Brady led the league in passing yards. Noah Floyd was 4th there. And in touchdowns, Noah Floyd was 6th. But Daniel Jones, at 41 touchdowns, led the NFC. And I think that was the deciding factor. Side note, 41 touchdowns, only 27 picks, 108 quarterback rating. That's outstanding performance overall for the New York Giants.
Going into running back, Zeke.
Yep.
Wide receiver, Terry McLaurin.
Interesting.
So
Terry McLaurin led the NFC wide receivers in receiving yards of 1,528, and he also had 17 receiving touchdowns to lead the NFC.
Okay. Best O lineman, Lane Johnson for the Eagles. Best D lineman was Grady Jarrett for the Falcons.
Grady Jarrett coming in hot.
Yeah, I don't miss facing him in Madden 20.
Grady Jarrett ended the season with 10 sacks and 2 forced fumbles. Here comes.
What?
Go ahead. What was that?
I was just curious. I didn't look. I was going to talk about sacks. We can get to that after we go through these awards.
Okay.
Best linebacker, Deion Jones.
Falcons cleaning on the defense as Deion Jones had 11 interceptions, a forced fumble, 2 sacks, and a pair of touchdowns.
That speed kills too, man.
Yes, it does.
Best DB, Jamal Adams. But
naturally,
kind of a little small brag here. Julian Love at 3 and Noah Igbenogany at 4. So we got 2 of the top 4.
You did.
But, you know, couldn't.
What a fantastic trade.
I know, right? Beautiful trade for the Giants. Best kicker, Graham Gano for the Giants. Love to see it.
Yeah, I'm calling a fix there. That's a fix.
That should give him an automatic superstar dev.
I just want to make a note. I believe my kicker led the league for most 60-yard kicks made. I think he made 5 of them this season.
Nice.
Very nice.
So, we can finish off the pod here with we can go over the top people in each stat category, kind of see who led the league in every major category. I got them pulled up. I can start us off with quarterback. So Tom Brady led the league with 4,879 passing yards, but finished with 37 touchdowns, 38 interceptions. So we had a few sims for the Bucks. So I'm sure a good amount of those were from the sims.
That's a fact.
But I think easily the quarterback that stood out was Lamar Jackson, winning MVP, of course.
100%.
That 52 touchdowns to 14 interceptions is just remarkable. I think that's very hard to do. 74% completion percentage too.
Especially when you consider that in the era of Madden, defense reigns. 14 interceptions is a fantastic number for a quarterback.
Under 1 a game, that's hard to do. So, an interesting stat we can go over here is interception leaders. So, I know, just add a little fun to the mix. Justin Herbert led with 63 interceptions off 24 touchdowns. So, about, 1 to 3 ratio. Jalen Hurts follows with 60 interceptions, 28 touchdowns. Jeff Bartell for the Raiders, 53 interceptions, 31 touchdowns. This might be probably the worst ratio, but we've had a switch in users. Teddy Bridgewater had 50 picks, only 14 passing touchdowns.
Oof.
But we know the original Panthers user we had kind of struggled to get the passing game going. So I think Teddy Bridgewater's stats. Yeah.
If you look on that list, Justin Herbert threw 63 picks while attempting less passes than everyone else on that top 10 list, and even further down.
Mm-hmm. Wow. Yeah. He still finished with a 52% percentage for completion.
He's completing them like all the time, though.
Yeah. All right.
Don't matter what team, I guess.
So rushing. Actually, someone you wouldn't have guessed finishing with the yards lead is Kareem Hunt. Beat Joe Mixon by 5 yards. 1683 to 1678. So I think that kind of shows, going back to our talk about Oscar and Brett's game, if he can get the run game going, that'll be big for him. But if he goes down and has to pass heavy, then I think Kareem Hunt's definitely going to be the X factor in that game.
I think so too. I think Kareem Hunt's going to make or break that game for the Cleveland Browns.
Yeah, and then we got Joe Mixon, Leo Martin, Melvin Gordon, Reichel Armstead to round out the top.
And Reichel was all from a previous owner too. Don't forget that.
True. Looking at touchdowns, we had Clyde Edwards-Helaire with 24, and then Zeke 19, Mixon and Leo Martin 17. 24 touchdowns for Clyde. He had 1,300 yards, but had 24 touchdowns. So he was a focal point on the goal line, in the goal line offense.
I guess that's a lot of what happens when you start winning, when you win a lot of games in big blowout fashion. But
an interesting stat I'm looking at here, though, Clyde Edwards-Helaire had 247 carries, 0 fumbles. That's pretty insane.
Nice.
So I'm looking at Josh Jacobs and Le'Veon Bell also had around the same amount with 0 fumbles. So that's huge.
Who led the league in fumbles?
So leading the league in fumbles was, it starts by quarterbacks. Leading the league in running backs was Matt Breida with 6.
Yeah.
Saquon Barkley had 5, but he missed 6 weeks, so he could have been up there as well. And then Eckler also had 5. But
not a surprising stat to me.
Dak Prescott had 11 fumbles. That leads the league out of quarterbacks.
I know that he likes to roll out with him a lot, though, so that probably contributed to it. But
yeah.
Something else to make a note of, guys. This season, Joe Mixon did not lead the lead in carries by over 100 like he did last year.
Yeah, and he almost still won the rushing yards.
When he had 340 something carries last year.
I think he had I thought he had 400.
Did he get up to 4? I thought it was 340. I will double check it.
Going into receiving, Jermichael Sapp.
381.
Oh, that's close.
Oh my god.
Yeah. The receiving stats were pretty much led by main 3 guys here. We had Jermichael Sapp leading with 1,870 receiving yards and 23 touchdowns. Marquise Brown had 1,846 and 25 touchdowns. So those are the main 2. But then Terry McLaurin also 1,528 yards, 17 touchdowns. So those 3 basically taken over in those stats. Jermichael Sapp had 81 catches. But then Marquise Brown 47, McLaurin 57. So Jermichael Sapp was a big focal point for the Jets offense. Marquise Brown was, the big play guy for the Ravens. Same with McLaurin.
If you organize it by receptions too, it's a really interesting fix. Your top leaders were Noah Fant with 88, Sapp with 81, Metcalf had 79, and then a pair of running backs, Eckler and Breida, round out the top 5 with 78 and 75 respectively. But that is a lot of spread from different positions leading and receiving there.
And the stat we kind of mentioned earlier was the yards per catch. You see Marquise Brown with 39 per reception. Tyreek Hill had 33. McLaurin 26. Jermichael Sapp 23. Ruggs 29. So all these fast guys, definitely showing their speed off this year.
Yep. So I think we need to discuss it going into the offseason what we're going to do to kind of balance out. We might turn that speed slider to kind of balance the 2 out.
Yeah, we got breaking news out of San Fran. Final score: Seattle 31, San Francisco 17.
And we have our first winner in an upset. This is the one we all agreed on, though.
Yep.
Seattle gets past San Francisco, easily covering their +4 spread.
Yeah, that means I get the winner of your game if I win. Just what I wanted. All right, let's go into the defensive stats before we wrap up here. Leading
This
the
is
league,
gonna be fun.
yeah, leading the league in tackles, we have Tremaine Edmonds had 131 tackles on the year,
Oh my god.
followed by Raekwon McMillan with 118, Gian Brown 117. So a lot of tackles.
The only thing I can think of there is because this is with Tremaine Edmonds being a Bill, and we all know that Jelly was the Bills, but he was throwing a lot of picks this season, so he was forced to be defensive a lot more. So I think Tremaine Edmonds was just had to be in there on the run anytime he was doing that.
Yeah, I agree, 100%.
Um,
Who's our leader in sacks this year?
Our leader in sacks was Zadarius Smith, tied with Samson Abukum at 12 and a half.
Kyle Van Noy was dethroned.
Ooh.
I gotta make
It's
sure
really interesting to me that this year sacks are so far down because they revamped the offensive line AI. So you're not seeing 30, 40 sacks out of guys like Khalil Mack, Joey Bosa. You're seeing 12 and 13 as the leading numbers. I think that's fantastic.
This is where it gets interesting, though. Interceptions. The leader this year was Blake Cashman with 17. Another guy breaking the record. We had a couple last year. I think Estrada had Gardner Johnson with like 21 or something. But yeah, Cashman had 17. Miles Jack 15. Shaq Rudd 13. Isaiah Ness 13. Jamal Adams 13. Thornhill 12. Julian Love 12. So, I mean, there's a lot of picks been going on this season.
Yeah. Yep.
Let's see tackles for loss as well. I know last year Aaron Donald ran away with that. Kenny Clark leads with 19. It's pretty even, actually. Kenny Clark had 19. Then we got Robert Quinn, Devin Bush, Reuben Foster, Bradley Chubb, and Grady Jarrett, all with 17. So no one really ran away with this one. But D tackles making their, and middle linebackers looking like the main two.
All your run stoppers.
And then forced fumbles. Forced fumble leader was Devin Bush with 7 forced fumbles this year.
Jesus.
Keanu Neal is 6, and then Reuben Foster with 5, and then multiple tied for 4. So
I did not realize Keanu Neal had 6. Damn.
yeah, so I mean, Jamal Adams finished with 4, so one of the rare enforcers out there didn't lead the league. But Devin Bush, yeah, he 17 tackles for loss, 7 forced fumbles, so that's pretty good.
And
season.
7 interceptions.
Yeah, and 7 picks. So good year all around for him. We don't got to get into kicking or kick return special teams.
Well, here's a fun one for you. Who led the league in defensive touchdowns? Blake Cashman of the New York Jets with 11.
11.
Wow.
11
So
defensive
and
touchdowns.
he had what? I think he had 17 picks. I wonder if they're all pick
17
sixes.
picks, 1 forced fumble, 3 fumble recoveries, and 11 touchdowns. That's insane.
Yeah, he's fast, so once he's got the ball, it might be hard to catch him. So.
Yep, and then Miles Jack with 8. Those are your 2 outliers. Everyone else was 4 and below. But 11 for Blake Cashman.
All right, as we almost reach the 1 hour mark, we are gonna go ahead and wrap it up. Our next podcast, hopefully we can get Jelly on here, or someone else maybe as a guest. Let's say our next goal will be for following the draft going into week 1, kind of talk about new rookies and stuff, what to look forward to going into the next season. But that's our playoff picks for this year. Stats overview. Do you guys have any closing remarks going into the playoffs?
No. I keep an eye out. We are going to be probably putting forward some new rules coming forward regarding player abilities. Now that they've given us the ability to manually select them.
Yep.
Player ability changes will be a thing. Don't forget, we are tracking everyone's abilities, so if they change at any point, you will be forced to revert them, or if you're a constant issue, we might end up removing your abilities completely. Something else to note is we're probably going to be talking about the speed sliders. As you guys saw, all the speedy wide receivers kind of led the way just by getting open deep, so we might be doing a few things to change that. And last thing we're probably going to talk about then will be any other slight adjustments to the rules, slight adjustments to things that we're looking forward to moving forward. But we are also going to be trying to get our weekly streams back, starting with season 3.
That's the plan.
Yeah, and I think the last thing I'll say is just to kind of thank everybody for being diligent with the league. You know, you get what you put into the league, and I think it's been a lot of fun because all of you guys have been putting in the work and getting your games in on time, and like I said before, it's just what you make of it. So this season was really fantastic. I don't think we had too many problems. But yeah, just a thank you for making this league what it is.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to season 3. I mean, yeah, we all get screwed by Madden animations. The game can get very frustrating, but it is what it is. We're here for the community, just to have fun, play some football. Yeah, I mean, that's all I got. We'll see you guys in a couple weeks following the off season. Good luck to everyone in the playoffs, and we'll talk to y'all later.
Take it easy.
See you there.